The Yemeni brothers, Ashab al-Jidar. And as soon as I walked in the store, he said, try on this jacket. I said, I ain't got no money for that jacket. He said, no, just try it on. And then he said, take it.
من أين هذا؟
That's from Los Angeles. I'm doing mine. Majmur.
فتاوى.
No. Also from Los Angeles. Is it good? It's from Bangladesh, man, that smell, right?
Bangladesh.
The people that run that shop in LA, they're from Bangladesh. That's the shop that I used to buy the oils from when I lived in LA.
It's still there?
Yeah. Same person.
Really?
Same guy that runs it. But they just moved the oils. Like,
Did he remember you?
nah, that was too long ago. I was too young, you know. He was already old.
1999.
Yeah, it's 2000. Yeah. He was already old, so the only thing that he can do is get older. I was like a young, 22-year-old kid.
He's forgetting more than you remember.
Yeah, well, plus because I'm going to look a lot more different than, he lives in LA, so there's going to be a lot of people passing through, so. All right, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. So I have the beginning signs of food poisoning. So if all of a sudden this live stream just cuts out, don't even wait for it to come back on. Nah, inshallah, we'll see. It doesn't seem that bad.
It's short class or long class?
I don't know. Let's see how. Let me just start taking the hadith and see how I feel, inshallah. All right. So this is chapter 136. قال الإمام البخاري رحمه الله تعالى باب سخاوة النفس. Now, first off, the last chapter that we took was the al-khuluq, right? Khuluq al-hasan. Husn al-khuluq, right? So now what he's going to do is what you're going to see through this chapter, the next chapter. What does Bukhari do? What have you seen him do throughout this book? Is he starts off with what? General, and then he goes into what? Specific details. So sakhawat an-nafs, this chapter is something that is a part of husn al-khuluq. The next chapter, which is a shuh, which is against husn al-khuluq. So you see what he's doing, right? So he's given this, and he's given the direct opposite. So sakhawat an-nafs is al-jud wal-karam, being a person who's like very generous. The opposite of that is what? Ashuh, which is to be stingy, miserly. But the meaning of sakhawat an-nafs, it doesn't mean just being generous. It's being generous because why? Because your heart is not attached to these things. Like your heart doesn't get attached to the dunyawi stuff so much where you feel like you have this hirs that you got to hold on to it and hold on to it. How did they translate it in English? How did they translate it in your book?
The title?
Yeah.
Of the chapter?
Yeah.
The contentment of the soul.
Yeah, because it's all of that. It's not just contentment, because contentment is a qana'a. Sakhawa, from the word sakha, it means like ijada wa karama. It literally means to be generous in your givings. But it's because of the person not having an attachment to these things. So if a person has an attachment and love for money, what? Is he going to be very willing to give it?
No.
What if, huh? No, he's not. He's going to have to fight himself to give it.
There's some that are willing to do.
No, but if his heart is really attached to it,
Oh.
he'll give if he knows, but it's going to be with struggle. He's going to struggle to give it. But if his heart is not attached to the money, whatever, for him it's just like the money's here, the money's not there, he's the same. Like he doesn't change. That person's going to be more what? More generous, So this is because of that contentment, because of the zuhud, all of these types of things, they all come into this meaning of sakhawat an-nafs. All right. So here we're on hadith number 276. حدثنا يحيى بن بكير قال حدثنا الليث عن ابن عجلان من? What's his first name? Just give me his first name. We've taken, you see these names so many times now. They're almost starting to feel like family now, right? And we're not even halfway through the book, right? but they're starting to feel like family. So who is Ibn Ajlan? Muhammad Ibn Ajlan.
أنا قلت هذا قبل.
Huh?
أنا قلت هذا
I
قبل.
didn't. If I don't hear you, you didn't say it. Yeah, it's like they say, you know, if you don't hear the tree fall in the forest, did the tree really fall? So we don't know. All right. So I didn't hear you. All right. So an Ibn Ajlan, وهو Muhammad Ibn Ajlan, وهو صدوق. صدوق it means what?
There's a hadith barely accepted.
No, it's accepted, but it's weaker. It's not weak, but it's not sahih. He's not like, you know. So that means that at the very least that this hadith is now going to be hasan. All right. عن القعقاع ابن حكيم عن أبي صالح عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال ليس الغنى عن كثرة العرب ولكن الغنى غنى نفس. This hadith is in the hadith itself is in Bukhari and Muslim. It's muttafaqun alayh. All right. So he said, all right, the Prophet ﷺ said in this hadith reported by Abu Hurairah, he said, ليس الغنى عن كثرة العرب. What does that mean? Huh? Ish? Like, you know, you're not, real richness is not with like having all these possessions and land and, you know, and everything, right? It's not by the things that you possess. But he said, وَلَكِنْ الْغِنَى غِنَى نَفْسِ. But he said the true richness is the richness of the self, which is in the heart. Because a person can own, you know, 1,000 acres of land, and he could have a $5 million mansion on that land. He could have 4 wives. But if he's not content, if he's not happy within himself, then what?
You will never be happy.
Well, if you have like a piece of land, you connect 4 double whites together.
No, but that's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about the contentment. All right. So if a person is poor and he, you know, struggles from day to day, but he's happy with everything that Allah has given him, he's the richest man on this earth, regardless of what he has. But the people, they look at his possessions. That person who has all this, he's still looking for more. He's not satisfied. He still feels like he doesn't have enough. So in his heart, within himself, he's what? He's poor. We look at him and say, MashaAllah, look at him. He's got a Bugatti, he's got a Rolls Royce, he's got this mansion, he's got all this land. Like for us, we would say, hey, if I had all that, I'm cool for life, akhi. You know what I'm saying? I just go on this land and farm and that's it. I'm cool for life, right? But him, no. Within himself, he's like, no, this is not enough. He wants more. He's got this land in America, but now he wants to land in France, or he wants to, you know, maybe he wants to, or Taz or something like. Maybe he wants to buy an island or something. You know, who knows what's in his heart, but he's not content. So the contentment in that qana'ah in the heart, that's the real richness, not the richness of what you own. Possessions mean nothing, because if you're never satisfied, I mean, how many people you see, rich people? I mean, you see. If you go online and look at like how many people commit suicide.
Rich people.
Well, actually, no. The number one people that commit suicide the most are actually soldiers.
College students?
No, military, ex-military.
I'm glad I did it though. I wouldn't, you know,
The soldiers, they commit suicide from the time. See, this is the thing. You know, they might have won the battles, but Allah wins the wars. You know, He wins all the battles and all the wars, even when they think they won the battle. But because they went into Iraq, they went into Afghanistan, and they might have like ran out who they thought they ran out, but all those soldiers ended up committing suicide at a rate of 25 a day for 15 years straight. And then the rate went down to like 17 a day. Count how many soldiers that is that committed suicide. 25 a day for about 15 years straight. That's the rate. That's the average.
That's how much?
136,875 soldiers. And they're still today. Look it up right now. Go to Google and type in what is the suicide rate amongst military.
U.S. military?
Yeah, U.S. military, because it's down now. It's gone down to like 17 the last time I checked. But that was before COVID. Maybe.
That's a terrorist.
That's what I'm saying. Allah takes them out. They kill their own selves, man.
Suicide rate
In 2022 was 25.1.
25.1 and 20, so it went back up.
For active.
Yeah. So it went back up. That's 25 a day.
Really?
That's not 25 a year. 25 soldiers committing suicide a day.
That's like one
They
thing
bury
in battle.
themselves and stuff.
All of them, all connected to the military.
136,875.
You know why they killed themselves?
PTSD.
Because they can't accept what they are.
No, not all of them have PTSD because not all of them were in battles. These are cooks. These might be admin people.
They can't come to terms with.
That's something big.
They killed themselves because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is gonna make, that's the punishment.
They're completely insane.
Yeah, you think you're gonna go there and kill a million Muslims in Iraq and how many people they killed in Afghanistan? And not just that, the oppression that they've done throughout the world. Go back, and if we went back and looked at the figures, look at the people that were in Vietnam. They weren't coming back committing suicide, but they were dying from drug overdoses at such an extreme rate. Akhi, it's unbelievable. So you just count the 50,000 soldiers that got killed in Vietnam.
My friend, he showed me a video of this veteran, literally, like live video. This dude oiled himself down in oil, and then burned himself, talking about some free Palestine.
Oh, I
He
see
burned himself alive. I'm like, what the heck?
And Muslims in the comments are like, oh man, Allah grant from Jannah for this.
أعوذ بالله من
And-
الشيطان
yeah.
الرجيم.
Allah
My father, he was in Vietnam. He was in the army for 12 years. And he used to call it search and destroy. And he tell me, he used to go through the villages and rape the women and kill the kids. And he would take pictures of all his killings, and all in a box. My grandma found them, and she was so mad, they made her leave the house. And he comes back at night, they had a ranch, and he cut all the animals' heads off.
The animals head off?
Yeah, the ranch, horses, pigs, just everything, cut all their heads off, all the animals.
Mm.
My dad, he was like kind of off after being in Vietnam.
Yeah, but see, it's not because of it's not
Sleep on a military cot growing up.
it's not PTSD because
Whatever
I've never seen brothers that were at war, Muslim brothers, that ever had nightmares or anything like that. Brothers come and stay at my house from Damaj. And they don't have nightmares. They didn't have nightmares. These brothers seen brothers blown in half. There was one Malaysian brother, they had to bury half of his body because they couldn't find the other half. You understand? But these brothers were not having nightmares. They weren't waking up in the middle of the night screaming and yelling. These brothers lived normal lives. They ate normal. It's because they did it for Allah, But these kuffar, they're doing it for Iblis. So that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes sure that they never have peace. One of the top snipers in the Navy SEAL snipers, he came back to America and he got shot and killed at a gun range by a Marine. The Marine went crazy, put out a gun and shot him in the head and killed him in the head. And he was one of the top snipers in Iraq. So, yeah, Chris Kyle. So, I mean, you see like these types of stories and you see what happens to them. Like these strange things happen to them and these crazy events. But like, 25 people killing themselves every single day. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got all these poor Muslims, show me Syrians that are running around committing suicide right now. Look what's going on in their country. I never heard of a Muslim telling me, oh my God, I can't take war anymore, I'm going to kill myself. I never heard this, And we live through all this type of stuff, so Allah musta'an, so yeah, it's going to come, it comes back on them. But it's like I said, it's that contentment in themselves. They live in horror. Even though they think they went home and they think they got that victory, but they live in horror. And then you see it and it comes back to them. Allah will not let them live in peace, no matter what. Same thing with these Jews and what they're doing in Palestine. You think these Jews are going to go back and live in peace? After they killed all these Palestinian Muslims and the women, the children, the old men and all that? No, they'll never live in peace. They might win on the ground. They might, kill more people and cause more destruction, but wallahi, they'll never live in peace. And you'll start to see them committing suicide one by one, one by one, one by one. And all of these people that did these atrocities, not going to be here. They're going to kill themselves. I mean, what's the ultimate punishment? You don't even get killed by your enemy. At least Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the Muslims izzah. We die on the battlefield. We die facing our enemies. But they die with a gun put to their head or put in their mouth or something like that, killing themselves out of like hopelessness. That's dhillah. But like that's complete, like Allah debased them and putting them down. See, Allah didn't even give them the izzah to die on the battlefield with sharaf, with honor, you know, where they fight their enemies and they died in the bathroom with a gun in his mouth. Akhi, that's come on, man. Yeah, that ain't izzah.
What about, do you know any stories like where the Houthis kill themselves?
But I don't know about the Houthis killing themselves, but I know about a snake killing a whole bunch of Houthis. No, but this is real. They got bit by a cobra.
Oh wow.
That was up in the mountains, and this is a true story. This is a true story. This ain't one of these Chinese legends. This is a true story. It was told by the Haras because they were in a room that night that happened. There was a snake. They were in this room on the mountains. It's just like a clay, like a mud room that they used to congregate in, and then they go up on the mountains. This is the tribe of Al-Wadi. They were fighting against the Houthis. So they said that a snake did come in through the roof, and it was hanging onto because you know what they do, they have logs that go across the roof. That's how they make the roofs. And they put a blue piece of tarp. So the snake was holding on to the logs, and he literally came face to face with one of the brothers. I'm not sure if it was Mahdi. Mahdi's a brother I was close to. I think if he was there or not, I don't remember. But it went like right there, this face. The snake just went like that, and he looked around the room, and he went up and left. And then that night they said it was a brother who was working in the hospital, Mustashfa Salam in Saada. And he said they were bringing in Houthis that were dying, like they had poison, like venom bites.
At the poison.
Huh?
Put more poison.
And they were frozen because it was so cold at that time that the bodies were actually frozen. And they were bringing them to Mustashfa Salam in Saada. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's things like that did happen. A lot. I mean, if I had sat down and told the stories like, actually, we're going to be here till Fajr. Let's finish that.
That's interesting. That's what the people like.
I know, but right now, I'm at the beginning stages of not, Mexican food poisoning, so Allah must die. Thank you. Yeah.
Because you're Mexican.
Half of you.
And it is would have made it another half.
All right. So the next hadith, 277. حدثنا سليمان بن حرب قال حدثنا حماد بن زيد وسليمان بن المغيرة عن ثابت عن أنس رضي الله عنه قال خدمت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم 10 سنين. So Anas is reporting that he said, I served the Prophet 10 years. How long was the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم in Medina?
No, sorry. No, I'm not like that.
Some people need to memorize al-Usul al-Thalatha.
No.
How long was the Prophet in Medina?
14.
Nope.
30.
What?
No.
You're going to let them answer because you don't know.
No, I know.
What's the answer?
Sorry.
What's the answer? No, wait. What's the answer? 13 you keep saying.
No, it's 11.
It's 11.
No, 11, 12.
12.
12, yeah,
12. So you got 11, 12, 13. And all of them are wrong. Huh?
12.
It's 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
It's right there. Anas ibn Malik served the Prophet
Wait.
ﷺ from the time he came to Medina until his death.
No, I was thinking about something else. Although I was thinking about minus the wars, minus this, time of it, I was thinking. But yes, it was 10 years.
How long was he in Medina?
Who was that?
10 years.
Yeah, because he spent 13 in Mecca.
10 years, yeah.
I remember the part of the where it says that.
Someone says, please tell more Yemen stories, we don't mind.
When they come up, inshallah. All right, so he served him for 10 years. فَمَا قَالَ لِي أُفٍّ قَطْ. And he never said to me, uff, like, if I did something wrong. He never said to me what? Uff, because uff is a statement of what?
Like a distress?
Yeah, tazajjur, or like a displeasure. Like if my son does something wrong, say, uff, akhi, what are you doing? It shows displeasure and dislike at that thing. So this shows two things. Number one, it shows the husnul khuluq of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even obviously he served him for 10 years, and he had to make mistakes. He's a human, right? But the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam never showed that displeasure for anything like this, and it also shows the fadilah to Anas, because that means that his mistakes were obviously very few. Like when he served the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did it to the best of his capabilities and made sure that he got everything right. So, but he said, well, so first off, he said, فَمَا قَالَ لِي أُفٍّ قَطْ. All right, قط obviously used to express the meaning of ever. Never, he never said this to me. وَمَا قَالَ لِي شَيْءٍ لَمْ أَفْعَلْهُ لِمْ أَلَا كُنْتَ فَعَلْتَهُ. And he never said to me about something that I didn't do it. Aren't you going to do this? Weren't you going to do this? Like, why didn't you do this? All right, so again, to show displeasure. وَلَا لِشَيْءٍ فَعَلْتَهُ لِمَا فَعَلْتَهُ. And he's never said to me about something that I did, why did you do that? All right, this hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim also. All right, so it goes to show that, like what? I mean, can you imagine serving an individual for 10 years and never having this person, like all of these, like having these characteristics? So, Allah musta'an. Yes, subhanAllah, that's amazing. I mean, his patience, and especially with his companions, that's amazing. You know, because I can't sit here for like 10 days, actually, without telling my kids off at least like 15 times a day, right?
Is that true?
Today.
Okay.
Today, what did he do? He went and put all the dishes in the soapy water and went off, and 6 hours later, guess what? The dishes are still sitting in the soapy water, except what? The water ain't soapy no more.
He's letting them soak, so that way it's easier to wash off.
Yeah, but for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, not for 6 hours, akhi. So yeah, I start yelling. Yeah, what is this, akhi? What are you doing? What are you trying to do? You know, yes, get in here and wash these dishes. So I can't go 6 hours, man. Forget 10 hours without saying oof to, you know, especially his brother. Oh, Mujahid. Oh, Mujahid. Mujahid can never do anything fast enough for me. You know, because he moves too slow.
But is he precise?
Huh?
Is he precise?
Not anymore. He used to be.
He's sleeping too much.
He's sleeping too much. I think he needs a wife.
Yeah, we all do.
Mujahid needs to get married, man.
That's what we're talking about.
What?
But anyways, all right.
Did you tell him the news?
What?
The chat?
Didn't we know? Everybody knew that we were going down there for you to get married,
Oh,
right?
I didn't know. You told him in the live stream.
Huh?
No. Not told you.
Hamza got married.
You know what I mean?
I think you told him, right?
Who?
Y'all were chatting about it in
Uh,
the chat yesterday.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Can't leave out the chat.
Tell him why. That's why we were gone for so long. Alhamdulillah.
No, but we told him, right?
Did you?
I don't know.
You put it in the group chat.
Yeah, in the
and then
group
I'll
chat.
fix that.
No, in the group chat. That's in the private Salafi group chat.
Maybe we didn't talk too much on the live stream because some crazy Yemeni guy was running around causing problems in Fresno.
Oh.
Yeah, some crazy Yemeni guy. He's lying about people and saying that he's got mental issues and he beats people and he's been in prison and he's done a lot. He did a lot for like what? How are you doing now? 22?
21. Yeah.
21, 22 years old, but he's already been to prison. He's beating parents. He's a drug dealer.
Tell him these are all false accusations. These are not true.
Imagine he's watching.
Oh, he's watching. What is he gonna yell in the corner? Nothing you can do anymore.
Yelling at his phone.
So, I mean, maybe that's why we didn't talk about anything. But anyways, all right.
We all took a field trip.
So, what's the connection with this hadith of Anas here with the chapter?
Oh, qana'a.
Yeah, because the Prophet ﷺ, it shows like, okay, obviously, like we said, Anas is not going to sit here and do everything right perfectly for 10 years. But you don't see the complaints of the Prophet ﷺ. If he did it, he did it. He didn't, you know, it shows this contentment in himself or whatever, you know. If he did it, he did it. If he didn't, he didn't, you know. But it didn't cause him to yell at him, rebuke him, censor him, or whatever, you know. So, he, you know, this is the way he dealt with it. So it shows that contentment of the self and the best of all character, you know. So hadith number 278. We're going to try to do this whole chapter because it's all connected together. حدثنا ابن أبي الأسود قال حدثنا عبد الملك ابن عمرو قال حدثنا سحامة ابن عبد الرحمن ابن الأصم. You have Ibn al-Asam or al-Asam. Either one is correct. He has, like, they call him by different names, right? All right, and as far as the first guy, حدثنا ابن أبي الأسود, he's Abdullah ibn Muhammad. Abdullah ibn Muhammad ibn Abi al-Aswad. All right, and he is, his kunya is Abu Bakr. All right, so he said after that, he said, قال سمعت أنس بن مالك رضي الله عنه يقول كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم رحيما وكان لا يأتيه أحد إلا وعده. All right, so he said that the Prophet ﷺ was very merciful, and nobody came to him except for he promised, like he would, you know, if I have this, I'll give it to you. Whenever I have this, I'll give it to you. وعده, to make a promise. He said, وَأَنْجَزَ لَهُمْ إِذَا إِنْ كَانَ عِنْدَهُ, and he would fulfill his promise if he had it with him at the time. If he promised him something, once he had it, he would fulfill his promise. He said, after this, he said, وَأُقِيمَتُ الصَّلَاةِ. All right, and the salat one day was established with جَاءَهُ أَعْرَابِيٌّ, and a Bedouin came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فَأَخَذَ بِثَوْبِهِ, and he grabbed his garment, and he said, فَقَالَ إِنَّمَا بَقِيَ مِنْ حَاجَتِي يَسِيرًا. He said, there's still something left from my, you know, what I need. You know, that you haven't given me my full portions. I want some, you know, there's something left. He said, وَأَخَافُ أَنْ أَنْسَاهَا, and I'm afraid that I might forget it. You know, because whatever he had promised them, it was like something a little less. He didn't give them the whole thing. So he said, there's still something left, and I'm afraid that I might forget it. فَقَامَ مَعَهُ, and then he stood up with him, حَتَّى فَرَغَ مِنْ حَاجَتِهِ, until he completed giving him exactly what he had promised him and what he needed. He said, ثُمَّ أَقْبَلَ فَصَلَى, and then he went back to the salat, and then he prayed. All right. So it shows the generosity, the patience of the Prophet ﷺ. Again, he didn't like do what we would do. Imagine a Bedouin, they already called the Iqamah for the Salat, and we're about to pray, and some dude walks in and grabs one of us by the throat and says, hey, you forgot something. You know, you gave me what you gave me, but you forgot something. Man, be like, dude, get up out my face, man, and we're going to pray, Akhi. Get up out of here, man. What are you doing? We are not going to take that. And this, you know what I'm saying? So, again, this is the character that we should be learning from, but this is the best of all character, and it's going to take a lot of patience. But I mean, it's very rare that, I mean, I've seen this from the ulama, but I've never seen this from like one of us, man. I can't imagine somebody in America having this level of patience. You know, you have some people, you have some individuals, but wow. But imagine that they called the Iqamah and he left. And it shows the permissibility of what?
Leaving after the Iqamah was called?
Yeah, because even at one time they called the Iqamah and the Prophet ﷺ realized that he was junub. And he left and he went and took the ghusl, then he came back and then they established the prayer. But the whole time, this was after the Iqamah was called. So, you don't have to pray like immediately after the Iqamah. If something comes up, you know, the Imam has to go deal with something, he goes and deals with it, and you come back and you pray. You don't have to call the Iqamah again, reestablish the prayer, as long as everybody stayed in their area, khalas. You know?
Is the saying with iyak, does that nullify your salah? Saying with iyak, if someone tells you Jazakallah khairan.
Dude, I left my salah.
I know.
And I started praying again when you... He said, you know, he asked me a question, and then he's leaving. I said, Allahu Akbar. I want to pray my sunnah. And he says, Jazakallah khair. I was like, what yak? I'm like, You know, I had to go back and pray again. But I yelled at you. I said, man, you messed up my salat. And then I went back and prayed. So obviously I wasn't still in the salat after that, at that point. But, so, you see here again, the sakhawat nafs. You know, the patience, here a person came, he needed something, and he made sure he got what he needed. You know, he didn't say, hey man, this ain't the time for that. Hey, I already gave you 75%, and you're going to sit here and bother me for this other 25% right now, we're about to pray. No, imagine. And subhanAllah. All right, hadith number, and this hadith is Hasan. All right, this hadith is Hasan. All right. Now, حدثنا, all right, it's 279. حدثنا قبيصة here is Ibn Uqba. قبيصة Ibn Uqba. All right. قال حدثنا Sufyan here is Sufyan ibn Sa'id. Alright, Sufyan ibn Sa'id ibn Masruq. Alright, you got that? Sufyan ibn Sa'id ibn Masruq. طيب, you wrote that?
I'm buying notebooks today.
Alright, so Sa'id ibn what?
Inshallah.
Ibn man? Sufyan ibn Sa'id ibn Masruq. Athawri.
Authority.
That's why I want to sit there and look at the looks on your faces. Like, ooh, yeah, okay, I got you. Sufyan ibn Sa'id, I got you. Yeah, ibn Masruq, yeah, I got you. Oh, Authority. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, there you go. All right, this is Sufyan Athawri. And Ibn al-Munkadir. All right, Ibn Munkadir is Muhammad ibn al-Munkadir. عن جابر رضي الله عنه قال ما سئل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم شيئا فقال لا. All right, I'm going off of the hadith that I memorized. So yeah, he said ما سئل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم شيئا فقال لا. Like the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم was never asked something and he said no. But he had the ability to fulfill that request. You don't just go around and say, I got you. You know, and this is a big problem, especially if you ever, live amongst Egyptians. Egyptians will never tell you no. They will never tell you no, but they'll never fulfill their promises either. So, you have to, this is not the path of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He never told the people no, but he always kept that, he took his responsibility seriously. And he made sure that everything was fulfilled that he promised the people. So just make sure when you take this hadith that I'll never tell people no again. No, if you don't have the ability to fulfill people's needs, you tell them no. You tell them no. You don't sit there and just have them waiting. But this was the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this is because of his great character. And because of his ability to make sure, first off, putting his trust in Allah.
Why would you believe Allah will take care of me? Just give it away.
Still have to put the effort,
Or you just give all your money away.
Well, I think it's saying if someone asks you, I have $100, but you don't have $100. You say yes because you trust that Allah isn't going to give you $100 to give them. But you don't get up and go out.
I mean, you don't say yes.
No,
You don't have it, but you say, like, for example, if you knew somebody owed you money and he said that he's going to pay you on a certain day, you tell him, look, this dude, he owes me $500 and he said he's going to pay me on Wednesday. Come back to me on Wednesday. Or I'll contact you and let you know if he gives me the money, I'll give you the $100. I'll let you hold it. For like that, but not to say if you don't have it, you don't have it. If somebody says, hey man, can you give me $100? Yeah. So where is it at? Just wait. It's going to come. It's like, come on. Man. You're not going to have very many friends, and not many people are going to ask you ever again.
No, there was an Indian guy in my middle school. He would just go around telling you want money? They said, yeah, and he would actually give them the next day. One day he told me, he said, you want $50? I said, okay. The next day he gives me a $50. I said, what's this? It's serious.
And did he tell you to get in the van too?
No.
All right.
This is when I was in 8th grade. He would just, one time he gave this other Yemeni guy $150 for no reason.
He's just taking money out of his parents.
For no reason, he just gives away the money. You just ask him, he gives it.
Man, I'm going to tell you, anything attached with money is always got a reason behind it. Either one, he's just very stupid, or two, there was a reason, but you just never knew what the reason was. I don't think anybody's just going to be going around handing out money like that.
Gas station. If someone walks up to me and says, you want $50, I was like,
All right. But that hadith also, muttafaqun alayh. All right, the hadith of Jabir, muttafaqun alayh. All right, last hadith in this chapter, 280. حدثنا فروة بن أبي المغراء قال حدثنا علي بن مسهر عن هشام بن عروة قال أخبرني القاسم بن محمد عن عبد الله بن زبير رضي الله عنهما قال ما رأيت امرأتين قط أجود من عائشة وأسماء رضي الله عنهما. So here he said, this is Abdullah ibn Zubair, he said that I had never seen two women in my entire life that were more generous than Aisha and Asma رضي الله عنهما. وجودهما مختلف. And their generosity and their level of generosity and giving was different. Like they weren't the same. He said, أما عائشة رضي الله عنها فكانت تجمع شيء إلى شيء حتى إذا كان اجتمع عندها قسمت. So he said about Aisha, she said she كانت تجمع شيء إلى شيء. That means when she had something, she wouldn't just give it away right away. She would wait for more to come, and then she would gather it together, and then she would give it out. So she just wouldn't just give it out right away. She would save it a little bit until it got more, and then she would give it out to the people, but she wouldn't keep it for herself. And then he said, وَأَمَّا أَسْمَاء فَكَانَتْ لَا تُمْسِكُ شَيْئًا لِغَدٍ. Like she never kept anything for tomorrow. Whatever she had to give, she would give it that day. She wouldn't wait until it, got to like a larger amount. So they both had the same type of, jude, the same type of generosity, but it was just what? He said, but like in, بِإِخْتِلَاف, like she would save it until it got a lot, and she would just, comes in her hands, out of her hands. She wouldn't keep it. She would give it away to somebody that needed it immediately. So that's subhanAllah. We are so far from this. See, this is the reason why I wanted to read Adab al-Mufrad, just so we can see how bad we are. Like really, subhanAllah. Because all this stuff about studying fiqh, obviously having knowledge of fiqh, beautiful. Having the correct aqeedah, very beautiful. But not having that behavior, akhi, it's like, if you don't have that type of good manners and good character, then the knowledge that you have is only going to benefit who? It's only going to benefit you. Because the people, they're not going to have the patience to benefit from you. So, any questions before we go to Bulugh al-Maram?
Yes. ما أخذناه.
ايش؟
أنا نسيت إحنا ما أخذناه.
أنت جاهز أنت امشي.
ما أخذناه.
So there's a question about, it says, what qualifications does one have to be a Quran teacher? And is there a certain amount of knowledge that they have to have?
What, in America, the qualifications a person has to have to be a Quran teacher, just has to have a beautiful voice. That's it. He could smoke cigarettes and go to nightclubs. They'll still let him teach the Quran in the masjid. But if you teach the Sunnah, they'll never, it doesn't matter how many qualifications you have, they'll never let you teach. But you could be a fasiq, akhi, and they'll let you teach.
The qualification you need to teach Sunnah is have your own masjid.
Most of these messages here, they don't care about no qualifications. All of that stuff is just for the internet. It's for show. If we really gave people positions in this deen and in the West based on the qualifications, our message is going to be super empty, boy. Super empty. It ain't going to be imams in like probably 90% of the message, more than 90% of the message. But as far as like the real actual qualifications, the person should have an ijazah. He should sit down with a sheikh and he's memorized the Quran, studied the Jazariyah, and he has a ijazah from a qualified sheikh. And Allah knows best. Unfortunately, like I said, those are not the qualifications people care about now. We have a imam in Jacksonville to this day. I have an ijazah. Until this day, nobody's seen his ijazah. Yeah. And the brother that does have the ijazah, and the brother that has the ijazah, he's khariji. He's got his own problems, but he's strong in the recitation of the Quran. But he actually does have an ijazah from Iraq. He's banned from teaching in the masjid. But the guy that has a fake wannabe supermarket, Walmart ijazah that nobody's seen, he could teach. He's Allah musta'an. That's a bat, akhi, and y'all better watch out because bats killed a woman with rabies, boy. Was that a bat or what was it?
I don't feel like a messed up tire.
You see that woman died as a school teacher, boy. You heard the story. It's in the news. Recently, a bat went into her classroom and bit her and she died from rabies, dude. Yeah, man. If you hear a bat, you better close that doorway. Yeah, Maghrib. So maybe she was teaching like English as a second language or something.
Wait, no. He said here. Are they here in Fresno? Bats.
Yeah, she died in Fresno.
Oh, it was in Fresno.
Man, look it up on your Google. Type in Fresno woman dies from bat bite. Look it up. Huh? And no, she did not become a superhero.
The bat bitter than the
Bat woman.
She's dead. Look. Huh? Other questions before we lose control?
Sufyan Hasnain says, I said it right, Hasnain, no, Hasnain. He says, I learned that there is no evidence to say Bismillah before every wudu. Or, I can't read that, I think
There's no authentic evidence for saying Bismillah before the wudu.
And it says, when leaving the bathroom, but I still do it because of habit. Do I have to stop if this is bid'ah? Also, the end of my... Okay. So, we're learning that. He said, do I have to stop if this is bid'ah? I don't. I'm not quoting another sheikh and whatnot. But, so all evidence is invalid?
As far as saying Bismillah, I mean, as far as like, yeah. You say it because, I mean, you're saying Bismillah at the start of something. And if, you know, so it's mashrur. I mean, when you do something, but as far as saying that it's thabit and it's from the sunnah, no. But I mean, if you go to, I mean, I still say Bismillah when I make wudu. It's just like you said, it's a habit. And whenever I start something, you say Bismillah.
Is there ibadah though if you do it? Like,
huh?
If you do it, would you get rewarded?
Allah knows best, man. Because you're doing it, you're starting something with the name of Allah. You know, when you start reading, same thing. And every time that the Prophet ﷺ opened up a book, did he say Bismillah? When he got in the car, did he say Bismillah? But we say these things, right?
When you get in the car,
obviously, it wasn't in the car, but I'm just saying, you know. Well, he did when he got on his camel. Yeah.
Many times I enter the car with Muslim brothers, not from here, but usually they're always outside of Fresno. When they get in the car, they always say, Subhanallah, sakharana hadha ma kunna lahu muqrinin wa inna ila rabbina munqalibun. Do you say that in the car or only say that on a writing piece?
Well, that is your writing piece, ain't it?
But would it be mashru'? Like, would it be mustahab if you say it when you get in the car? Subhanallah.
Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put it under your control. You control it. You're steering it. So yeah.
Just wanted to know if it was still the same. Okay. So there you go. We learned a new dhikr to do. You're not praying, right?
Next question.
Because I turned around before you started praying, I just hear you go,
next question. Man, I don't have the energy for all this right now. Same thing, like even my son was bringing me up the phone, and I was just like, I had just thrown up from sickness and everything. He's like, look at what's happening in Syria. I'm like, man, I don't care about Syria right now, man. I'm like, I'm gonna care about Syria, but let me care about myself right now.
To each other, the Syrian guy and the saved guy and Syrian guy.
So there you go. We didn't have to go back to the dishes. We could have just gone back to the before Salatul Isha.
He says the same question. He says, the end of my pants are folded inside and permanent stitched, so they're above my ankles. He says, can I pray in these?
Yeah.
He also said, I already mentioned it, but he said, please tell more Yemen stories if you don't mind.
Next questions. I'm not a storyteller. If things come up and stories get told just because it's, you know, something that led to that in the conversation, but I can't just sit down and just start telling stories.
A turkey patty says, how to explain to Egyptians that you don't want to do the Fatiha during an engagement because it's not something the Prophet did without seeming odd.
Actually, you can't explain nothing to people who do things like that. It's not just Egyptians.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, my dad actually, when he was asking me about that happened
What do they do?
Tell them no Salih al-Fawzan, tell them we had a good
Yeah, when he did the wedding, like literally, they were waiting. Like you could see all the people were waiting.
to eat.
And I just know they were waiting for like me to say some extravagant dua. And I just stood up and I just told them, you know, Barakallahu lakum, baraka alaykum, jama'a bainakum fi khair. You know, I just did the dua. And they're like looking like, wait, I said, it's over. It's like, what are y'all waiting for? It's like, oh, but you can see like the people are just like waiting for all this like,
Then
all this bid'ah.
Abdul Malik came and says, take beer, and everyone, Allah.
And then he invited everybody to Fresno. Yeah, so we don't do none of that stuff.
Like maybe 8 different people walked up to me, they were like, Assalamu alaikum. Like, my name's Abdullah. I'm like, SubhanAllah. Next question says, by Hamid, if there's no imam of the masjid and it's iqamah time on the TV and the people start getting up, what should we do?
Well, again?
If there's no imam of a masjid and it's the time of iqamah on the TV and the people start getting up,
What's the TV got to do with any of this?
I think like, it's time for the iqamah. They have it, you know,
Oh, you're talking about on the screen?
on the screen, yeah.
On the monitor, yeah. You wait for the imam.
No, he says there is no imam of the masjid.
There's no official imam.
No. Does anyone lead? Or whoever knows the most?
Whoever is the most knowledgeable of the Quran. If there's no official imam, you find the person who's the most knowledgeable of the Quran, and if you got 2 people that are most knowledgeable, they both memorize the Quran, and whoever's most knowledgeable of the Sunnah, that's the person that leads. But if there's an official imam, you have to wait for the imam. You can't lead the salah without him.
Striving slave, barakallahu fihi, says, is it sunnah to delay Isha till midnight? What is the best time to pray Isha? Is it right when it comes in?
It depends on the people. You know, the Prophet ﷺ said, هذا وقت لولا أن أشق على أمتي. That this is the time for it. If it weren't that I would cause difficulties for my ummah. So he prayed, and after the half of the night had passed, he prayed Salat al-Isha. So I mean, that's the most beloved time, huh? Prayed Isha, yeah, like about 12 o'clock at night. But that's the most beloved time. But that's based on the people. You can't. And the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, if he saw them all, like everybody was in the masjid already congregated, he would pray early, like he would pray Isha in the earliest time. But if he saw the people, they were busy, things outside, they weren't all in the masjid, he would wait. He would postpone the Isha until everybody could get to the masjid and pray together, because he wanted to make sure that the people pray the salah in the masjid. But sometimes people are busy. That time at night, at Maghrib, especially the people that have camels, they have to like tie up the camels at that time, and so they might be busy doing these types of things, maybe busy in the house, whatever the case may be. So if he saw that they weren't all together, then he would delay the salah until later, till the people could make it. So that's the sunnah, But like just to sit here and like run on a thick schedule, like we have to pray at 6 o'clock every single night, no, that's not from the sunnah. It's not the way he did it. If you see the people, like wait, let's see if more people come to the masjid, and wait, delay it, inshallah.
Can we do any more questions or no?
No, we do Bulugh al-Maram, inshallah. You have to go. You have to go do your married dude's business.
I have to go to like 2 grocery stores.
Yeah, me too now.
Do you want to go to Food Max together?
No. Oh, I go to Food Max anyways. Okay. You want to go, you can go.
I need to get rice.
All right, so now, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, قال الإمام الحافظ ابن حجر رحمه الله, huh? I'm going to tell you right now, 1058, the hadith. 1058. All right, so عن أنس رضي الله عنه قال من السنة إذا تزوج الرجل البكر على ثيب أقام عندها 7 ثم قسم وإذا تزوج الثيب أقام عندها 3 ثم قسم متفق عليه واللفظ للبخاري. So Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu, he said, from the sunnah, all right, from the sunnah is what? إذا تزوج, if a man gets married to a bikr. Bikr, of course, is a woman who is
Never been married?
She's never been married, and she is a virgin. You do not call a man a virgin, because a man does not have virginity. So please stop saying that.
Wait, what?
A man doesn't have virginity.
What's the azad?
Yeah,
What's the azad though?
Al-Bukhura is the virginity of the girl.
Oh.
When that thing gets broken.
In English.
No, but I'm saying she doesn't have a man doesn't have virginity.
Only in English?
Huh?
We're talking about just
No, but I'm saying it sounds weird. Oh, he's still a virgin.
It-
I hope he is.
It-
If he ain't, that means he joined the Rainbow Coalition. I think.
No, that's the.
He
ayah
done lost
here.
his virginity. What are you talking about?
When we say lost, like in this, where we live, when we say lost virginity, like he had slept with a girl.
No, man, just say that he hasn't done it, but he's not. He doesn't have
I got a
virginity.
question.
So stop saying a man's a virgin.
I got a question. Say if you're married, right? If you're married, and you have 4 wives, you can have other girls too, right? They're just like for you. Like the way.
Where are you going with this, Daniel?
No, the way the prophet Suleiman had like.
He had 99 wives. You want 99 wives or what?
No, but like we also had other concubines, you know?
What's a concubine?
Yeah, but you need to go to war to get that.
The war captains.
You can't get no war captains because there's no Imam al-Akbar. Khalas. Sorry, man. He lost out on that one. You got to have an Imam. You have to have a Wali al-Amr that everybody's underneath his authority, and he's the one that distributes the concubines. So, yeah, just keep making dua. Akhi, get your first wife first, and then start worrying about the other 3, and then the concubines. Yeah. Yeah, Sulaiman had 99 wives. All right, and that's what they said.
How did that work? It just looks like every day or like every
And that's what the ulama say. Ibn Qutayba, rahimahullah, is one of the people that said that was what was being talked about in Surah Al-Sad.
So you can have.
What's the ayat that I'm referring to?
The what?
إن أخي له 99 نعجة ولي نعجة واحدة فقال أقفلنيها وعزني في الخطاب in Surah Al-Sad. That he was talking about that this was a test for Dawood. Because Dawood had 99. He said, إن أخي له 99 نعجة. Na'ja is what?
Concubine, is it?
No, Na'ja is a sheep. Look it up. What type of specific sheep it is? Look it up, Na'ja. But
Wait, did you say inna akhi?
إن أخي
Inna hada akhi.
إن هذا أخي له 9 because they jumped in his window. And they were arguing and they wanted Dawood to judge between them. قال إن هذا أخي له 99 نعجة ولي نعجة واحدة فقال اغفرنيها وعزني في الخطاب. And he said لقد ظلمك بسؤال نعجتك إلى نعاجي وإن كثيرا من الخلطاء لا يبغي بعضهم على بعض إلى الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وقليل معهم. So here, but then what? Then Dawood understood what the issue was. So the Arab, they use this word na'ja to mean zoja, like for a female, but it doesn't mean that. He's talking about the number of sheep that his brother had. So he was saying that, but that was by Ibn Qutayba, rahimahullah. But some of them, they differ as far as the tafsir of the ayah. You found it?
The tafsir?
No, the word na'ja.
Or no? So was Qutayba right? Ibn Qutayba?
If you take his, I mean, I'll go with that because he's the strongest in the lugha. And he brought like poems from the Arabs from Jahiliyyah to show that they use this word to mean like females, like women.
So you can have 4 wives and also
They're
slave.
No. They were under a different sharia. In the time of Dawood, they had 99 wives. They could have that.
I thought it was
But this sharia, we can only have 4.
Yeah,
I thought
no.
the same sharia. Same sharia with different way of fasting.
Salam, female sheep. Na'ja, female sheep.
I know what I'm saying.
But look up the tafsir.
It's always been the same sharia.
Ayah number.
It's just a different way
Don't
of
just type
fasting.
in the ayah. Just type in إن هذا أخي له 99 نعجة. Just type that in Google. What's up?
Sorry, I mean.
Yeah.
I was told it's always been the same sharia, but a different way of fasting.
What?
It's always
No.
been the same sharia. but
Maybe
a different way of
he
fasting.
means sharia like.
No. The asl of the sharia is tawheed, but the laws differ. So before, maybe alcohol was permissible in some of the sharia, but it's not permissible, and it was permissible in Islam in the beginning, and then it became mansukh.
Like making sujood.
Making sujood to another person was permissible to show respect in the time of Yusuf alayhi salam. So all the people, they made sujood to Yusuf. They made sujood to Adam Allah ordered the malaika to make sujood to Adam. That was permissible, but it's not permissible in the Sharia because it leads to shirk. Allah.
You owe me a new phone.
I owe you nothing. Because it fell on carpet. Because he jumped, I jumped, I lost the phone, man.
Is it shirk to pray over someone in the cemetery?
Yeah,
Of
of
the
course.
body?
Yeah.
It's shirk, right?
Pray janazah.
No, to pray over their grave.
Like to bow down to
So
them?
he said, this is,
No, like this, like to pray over their grave.
this is,
Like, do I?
this is Tafsir al-Baghawi. But Tafsir al-Baghawi is not going to tell you that it's from Ibn Qutaybah. But he said, فَقَالَ أَحَدَهُمَا إِنَّ هَذَا أَخِي قَالَ أَحَدَهُمَا Ibn Qutaybah. He doesn't mention that.
Wow.
He said, إِنَّ هَذَا أَخِي, this is my brother, على ديني وطريقتي. So it's not his actual brother. له تسعون نعجة. يعني امرأة, females. ولي نعجة واحدة. And I have one, أي امرأة واحدة. والعرب تقني بالنعجة عن المرأة. قال الحسين بن الفاضل هذا تعريض للتنبيه والتفهيم. It goes into a different part of the, yeah. So y'all didn't know that.
Is it shirk to pray over someone's grave?
He's saying like to go to a grave and not to make dua to the person in the grave, but just to go and say Allahumma.
You
Allahumma.
should, I mean, look, if you're going to make dua for the person, then you can make dua for a dead person in your home. But no, but the thing is
over their grave.
you should never do like to make dua.
For them, I'll tell you that.
Like, there's some people that mean for them that I don't know to make.
No, like you should never like go to the grave. If you make dua for him, like for example, like let's say that you go to visit like a dead Muslim relative, and you're at the grave, and you just want to say, you know, Allahumma rahamu, Allahumma rahamu, may Allah have mercy on him. Don't raise your hands and don't make dua, because then the people might see you and they think that you're doing something that's, you know, something different, and they might think that that's correct, and then they think, oh, he's making dua to the person in the grave.
What if you put your hands like
Nah,
this?
don't do it. Not at the graves. Leave that off. So I said that
Sure.
you don't need to go to a grave of a person to make dua for them. You know, the purpose of, you know, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned the visiting of the graves is to what? يُذَكِّرُكُمُ الْمَوْتِ. That it reminds you of death. That was because in the beginning of Islam, it was impermissible for the people to visit the graves, men and women. He said, كُنْتُ أَنْهَاكُمْ عَنْ زِيَارَةِ الْقُبُورِ فَزُورُوهَا. He said, I used to prohibit you from visiting the graves. But he said, فَزُورُوهَا. But he said, now visit them. Because يُذَكِّرُكُمُ الْآخِرَةِ. You know, it makes you, it reminds you of the next life, that you're going to die.
Strictly that, no Quran, no reading.
No, I mean, you don't go for all that. No. You don't need to go to the grave to make dua for a person. You can make dua for a person in your house in the last third of the night in sujood if you want to make dua for the person.
Tell the translator that.
That stuff is.
No, you go to the graves to remind you of the next life. That's it. Nothing that you do at that grave can benefit any whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has judged. That person's judgment is done. You understand? Whatever, if he's from the people of Jannah, that's in the time when they're carrying him on their shoulders. Because what did the Prophet ﷺ say about the person? He said, إِذَا كَانَ صَالِحًا يُقُولُ قَدِّمُونِي قَدِّمُونِي. You know, if the person's salih, if he's a righteous person, when they're carrying him, he's going to be sitting there saying what? Hurry up and get me to the grave so I can start getting my blessings. Y'all wasting my time. But إذا كان غير صالح كان غير ذلك فقال يا ويلها أين تذهبون بها. Then the person's going to say, whoa, where you going? Where y'all going with it? Where you going with this body? No, you know, because they don't want to go to the grave because of the punishment. So all that's done, akhi. There's nothing that you can do at the grave of any person that's going to change anything that Allah has written for that person. You go to the graves with the intentions of your...
What if that person goes to the grave and Allah forgives them for everything they did?
How is he going to forgive because of the action that you did?
No.
You don't have shafa'ah like right now. You're not an intercessor right now. That's on the day of judgment. That's not in this life. There's no intercession right now. You could intercede on a person of your family's behalf if they died on Islam, and you fulfill those conditions of being from the people that is accepted their intercession. That's in the next life. That's not in this life. There's nothing you can do to help that person.
They punished in the grave the whole time for the resurrection.
If that's what Allah is, they disobeyed Allah and they died on that disobedience, and that's their punishment. It's their punishment, akhi, khalas. You know, and that's why the Prophet ﷺ, when he went by a janazah, marra bihi janazah, faqala mustarihun. And then another janazah went by him, marra bihi thalitha qala wa mustarahun minhu. You know, he said that the first janazah that went by him, he said what? He said he's relaxed. And they asked, the Sahaba asked him, they said, you know, Ya Rasulullah, you said this about the two janazahs. You said, wahid mustarih wa wahid mustarahun minhu. And he said the first person, he said he's a righteous person. Yastarih min nawasib ad-dunya, when all the problems of this life, all the stress and all the anxiety, when he dies, he relaxes. He's released from this prison. And he goes to the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and all the blessings. So huwa mustarih, he's relaxed, he can rest. But he said the other one, mustarahun minhu, that when he dies, the people on the earth, they can relax from his evil. They relax because he was a fajr. And because of the sins that he used to do, he might cause the fact that the rain doesn't even come down because of all the sins. You know, he might have been a person who was called into those sins, where the people followed him in those sins, and it caused the rain to be held. It caused so even the animals on the land, they can relax now that this person is dead. So there's nothing, I mean, when you go to the grave, you go to the grave with the sole purpose of reminding you of the next life. You're not going to have no conversation at the grave with somebody. You're not going to make, you know, you can make dua. You want to make dua for the person, make dua for the person. But you don't need to go to the grave for that. You know, the best time when the dua is answered is not at the grave. Prophet ﷺ never mentioned that. The time when dua is answered, when it's raining, make dua for the person if you really love the person. The last third of the night, that's when when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yanzil ila sama' dunya. You know, so this is the time that you make dua.
This is for the benefit of the people. I already know. What's the ruling on traveling to a grave?
No, actually, I'm telling you, it's not permissible right now to go to a grave with the purpose of doing this type of stuff. Like, you know, that's in your backyard. Actually, forget going and traveling to it.
Would it be shirk?
The Prophet ﷺ said, "La yashuddu rihal ila thalathati masajid." That you should only travel for the purpose of visiting 3 masajid. He said, "Masjidi hadha wa masjid al-haram wa masjid al-aqsa." Those are the only 3 messages. It's not permissible for you to go and say, I'm going to travel to Turkey because I want to pray in that big masjid in Istanbul. That's not permissible. That's bid'ah. It's only permissible to travel for the purpose of 3 masjids. Forget traveling to go visit a grave. It's not permissible for you to go to Medina for the purpose of visiting the Prophet's grave. If you go to Medina, you visit the masjid, you pass by the Prophet's grave, give him salams, and keep it moving. When you give him salams when you pass by his grave, but you don't go to Medina with the purpose of visiting the Prophet's grave. All of this stuff leads to shirk. And that's what you see the people doing. Where it's not permissible, it's bid'ah. You know, for a person to travel to another country for the purpose of visiting a masjid. It's not permissible. So what about visiting a grave that's not from those 3 masajid? That's not from those 3. Now, yeah, you could get on a plane now and go to Mecca with the purpose of visiting Masjid al-Haram. Yeah. But nothing else. You can't go back and say, oh, I want to visit the other masjid. Going for the purpose of talib al-ilm, like you're trying to get to this masjid because the sheikh teaches there, then that's something different.
So it would be shirk. Visit a grave. Traveling.
No, it's bid'ah. He hasn't committed shirk yet.
No,
shirk would be what he does at the grave.
Because the takfir is online. They always say shirk.
Actually, they don't even know. They don't know their backside from their elbows. Huh?
There's a lot of people that have committed shirk.
Yeah, that's why we study Kitab al-Tawheed. That's why. To protect the people from falling into this stuff.
What if they committed shirk and didn't know it?
Can we save these questions for when we finish the hadith and Bulugh al-Maram? I'll get back. I'll come back to this. But right now we're talking about marriage. Y'all jumped from one subject and went. All right.
Snakes.
So he said from the sunnah, either if a man marries a bikr, all right, so a female who has not been married and is not, like, even if the marriage was even if it's a marriage, well, we'll get into that with the thayyib. And he said, ala thayyib. A thayyib is a woman who's been married, whether it's shar'iyan or bishubha. What does that mean?
Shar'iyan, like, Islamically, or like shubha, maybe she hasn't been married.
No, that she has been married, but it was a shubha. Like, for example, let's just say, like, we know the hadith, that there's like, la nikah illa bi wali. We know the authenticity of this hadith, and we know the meaning of this hadith. But then you got the Hanafis that say, no, they don't believe that the wali is an obligation. So maybe her father was Hanafi, right? And she got married without a wali. And this would be shubha, because she was under the understanding that this was correct in Islam. So she would not be considered a fornicator if that was, no, but she has to have.
That would be correct with my answer, right?
Huh?
Wouldn't my answer be correct?
What's that?
Because I said, Shar'an, like Islamically, and shubha, maybe she wasn't married.
No, she was married, but under her understanding. You know, I'm not talking about like what they do when they bypass the wali purposely. That person is not married. That person is committing fornication. But like for this, because that's their madhab is this, but it's incorrect. And if you know it's not correct,
So the wali just.
wali is a condition.
Like 20K, you want 20K from.
Doesn't matter. Then go find another girl if you don't have.
Not to
You
them.
can't. It's just, that's it. What happens? I mean, what are you gonna do if you go to buy a car and he says, "I want this amount for the car"? What are you gonna do? No, I'm saying, are you gonna try to go around to another worker? He's gonna, oh, come on.
So if she finds out that she needs a wali, does she have to then go get a wali and redo the marriage?
No.
No? Should you just go on?
Nah, because that's a shubha. It's like there's an unclarity in her marriage.
So what if it becomes clear to her and her husband, like at the time?
That's khalas. It's too late now.
So she just goes on?
Well, the Prophet said la nikah. The Prophet said la nikah.
But they've already consummated that, akhi. So they didn't know the hadith. They're jahil. So what are they gonna do? So
Marriage is.
I know, I heard that too. I heard. No, I know. I'm not saying you're
Look.
wrong. Because
there's a difference between her getting married, thinking that they're like, let's say that her father's dead, her brother's dead, there's no wali, and if she's under the understanding that this is what her father taught her, that she doesn't need a wali to get married, and she gets married. That's different than her bypassing the father and going to the father. There's no shubha in that. That marriage is invalid, period, khalas. There's no shubha, but there's a shubha involved in the first one, because of her understanding based on the madhab that she follows. You know, that's what she was taught. So she's not going against her wali. She's not. So if she falls under that category, then she's thayyib. She's a thayyib. That means she's been married. Khalas, her marriage counts. You know, she's not committed. She's not a zaniya. You know.
So a year goes by, she finds out that she needs a wali, she doesn't, so we'll just forget it.
It's done now. It's consummated. Khalas, it's finished. You know. But like I said, there was a shubha involved. If they can fix it, fix it. But if like her father's dead, her brother's dead, she has no males.
so, I'm not saying you're wrong. So the dalil of what you're saying is in this hadith.
No. I'm just talking about the meaning of a thayyib. A thayyib is a woman who's been married before, either shar'iyyan or bishubha. Her marriage, there was like something mushtabih, you know, fihi, whereas like there was unclarity, but the marriage is still valid. The marriage is still valid. He said, "Aqama indaha sab'an." It means that when he marries the virgin girl, that he stays with her for 7 days. Thumma qasab. And then if he has more than one wife, what? Then he distributes the days amongst the other wives, based on what? Whatever they agree on. So he could do 1 night for her, 1 night for her. He could do 2 nights, 2 nights, 2 nights, whatever he agrees on with his wives. So he could do, if he has 4 wives, he could do 1 week with her, 1 week with her, 1 week. If they agree on that, then khalas, that's the distribution. But that distribution has to be the same. Is it permissible for him to have any relations with his other wife on the days that is the day for the wife, the one wife? Huh?
See?
Is it permissible if he has 2 wives that he goes and has relations with the wife that's not her day?
But did he already give her her right? Or no?
Just answer the question. You're going. I'm not trying to study philosophy here.
No, it's not philosophy. No,
It's not her day,
Yeah,
khalas. He cannot. He can go and visit her, make sure that she has any of her needs. If she needs anything, he can go get it for her. But he's not allowed to be intimate with her. It's not her day. It's the other woman's day. You give her the woman whose day, that's the distribution. If it's her day, that's her day. You spend that time with her. That's her day for that. It's not the other woman's day. You can't just run around and start like, oh, I'm going to go knock something out for lunch and then I'm going to go be with this woman tonight. No, that's dhulm. That's oppression. And unfortunately, that's most marriages in the West. Because the brothers here, they get married and they don't study the fiqh of, a marriage. And then they end up oppressing the woman. You're responsible. If you get married, don't sit here and try to play the ignorance card because you got married. If you got married, that was your duty as a man to understand these laws. So Allah musta'an, not to just do what you want to do. If it's her day, it's her day. That's the only woman that you're intimate with. Yeah, if the other woman calls you up and says, hey, we don't have rice in the house, we don't have flour in the house, we don't have this, you go, you buy it, you give it to her, and you leave. That's it.
So in the
Can I
day,
finish this hadith, please, man? I'm like really tired.
no,
And y'all just keep asking all these questions. I'm really not having it today, man. I'm starting to feel like would y'all just stop? All right. So he said after that, he said, قام عندها سبعا ثم قسم وإذا تزوج الثيب, and if he marries a woman who's been married before, فقام عندها ثلاثا, he stays with her for 3 days, ثم قسم, and this hadith is متفق عليه. Then he starts to distribute the days. All right, so stay with her for 3 days and give her all sole attention for those 3 days. Then after that, then he starts to divide it with the rest of his wives. All right, hadith number 1059. وعن أم سلمة رضي الله عنها أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لما تزوجها أقام عندها ثلاثا وقال إنه ليس بك على أهلك هوان إن شئت سبعت لك وإن سبعت لك سبعت للنساء رواه مسلم. So here Salama رضي الله عنها, she reported that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he married her, that he stayed with her for 3 days, 3 nights. That's originally 3 nights, but what? What about if the man works at night and he's only with his available for when he comes home after the nights? He works all night, then he comes home at Fajr. So then what? What do you do? So 3 nights. Does he distribute the nights or does he distribute the days?
So, I was reading a question.
He works at night.
he works at night. He works in, then he goes
He
in the day.
distributes the days because he's going to come home from work and he's going to spend the day with them, then go to sleep, then get up and get ready and go back to work. All right. So he said, with Salama radiallahu anha said, when he married her, he stayed with her for 3 days because she had been married before to Abu Salama. And إِنَّهُ لَيْسَ بِكِ عَلَى أَهْلِكِ هَوَانٍ, and he said there is no hawan. Hawan is like what?
Hawan?
It's like daf.
Okay, yeah.
So he's saying like there's nothing, there's nothing wrong with you. There's no issue with you, but this is the deen. So you've been married before, so I stay with you for 3 nights. But if the people think that there's going to be a problem with that, he said I can do, I can stay with shiti sabatulek. If you wish, I'll stay with you for 7 days. I'll give you 7 days. But if I do that, then what? I have to give the days also to my other wives. I have to do the same for them all because the distribution is going to be equal. But he put the choice in her hands. So now the question is, because he said in shiti, if you wish, if you want, I can give you 7 nights. So what if he stayed with her for 7 nights, but she didn't want it?
He would still have to be judged.
No, but no.
Like غصباً عنها.
No, because that's not her fault. She didn't, yeah.
Like غصباً عنها.
Like he just doesn't want to leave. Like for some reason,
Okay, then
he
he's
loves
a
where he's at.
Then he's a zalim.
Huh?
Then he's a zalim.
If the person does this, then yeah, but he can't go back and distribute the 7 days amongst the other wives because she didn't ask for that. So it's for that person. If he does that, then he needs to fix that on his own. But it's not her fault. She didn't say that. So you give the woman, if she's a thayyib, if she's been married before, you give her the choice. You got 3 nights, and if you want, I can do 7. But if I do 7 for you, then I also have to do the what? Do the same for all my other wives. And that's her choice. If she says no, I want 3, and then you stay 7. It's not her fault. You can't take from her days for something that you did. You have to fix that because you oppressed the other women by staying with her more than what was because the distribution starts after the 3rd night. You stay with her for the 3rd night, then you start distributing amongst the other women. And Allah knows best. Any questions before we go? 1 or 2, because I'm out, man. That's it.
Do they have to be in order? Or could
I don't care.
So one.
You don't need to ask those other questions because Well, we know who you always used to answer the questions and ask the questions from. We don't need
No, they won't be typing anymore. So
those days are over. Huh?
you know, you might end up finding your spouse in a live stream. Someone says, does Tawbah require for me to make Salat al-Tawbah, or is it enough to leave it and feel guilt?
You have to fulfill the conditions of Tawbah. Leave off the sin and have nadama, and to feel guilt for the sin, and to have that determination that you'll never return to the sin. You have to have the intention of never returning. That doesn't mean that you might not return. You might slip up and fall into some trap, but your determination is that you never go back to that sin. You have to have guilt, and so there's conditions, but the conditions is not the salat. It's not praying.
So, is doing wudu a shart when you have to do Salat al-Tawbah, or you just pray?
There's no salat al-Tawbah. What is salat al-Tawbah?
Is it like,
Talking about the salat al-Istighfar.
isn't it when you just pray 2 rak'at?
The salat al-Istighfar is da'if.
Is it da'if? I never heard of it. SubhanAllah.
Sheikh Mubin rahimahullah, he in the beginning, he made it Hasan, and he put it in his Jami' Sahih, but then he his difference of opinion about that he went back on it. And most of the students, they saw the hadith as being da'if. Sheikh al-Albani rahimahullah saw the hadith as being da'if. If you're talking about salat al-Istighfar.
Oh, is that like when you do a sin, you just do like a good wudu, like a very perfect wudu, and then you pray 2 rak'at, and the sin is pretty.
No, but there's a specific type of thing that you have to say in that salat.
Oh, that's Salat al-Tasbih. That's munkar. As the Imam Ahmed said. Umar says, does attending lessons during the night count as night salah if the intention is there?
According to the ulama from before, if the talib al-ilm is better than qiyam al-layl, so
I have a question.
it's actually seeking knowledge. If that's the only time that you can seek knowledge is late at night, that's better than standing up the night and standing in the night in prayer. Because if you stand up and pray at night, the only person that benefits is you. But you're seeking knowledge, that benefits more people. And it was said about Imam Malik rahimahullah. Please stop cutting me off right now. All right. All right. So he said about Imam Malik rahimahullah that he said that, the person they asked him, they said that a person only has, like maybe an hour left to live, or like a small amount of time left to live. Should he spend that time like doing ibadah, or should he spend that time doing talab al-ilm and learning his deen? He said he should spend that time learning his religion. Because that's more beneficial, because he can learn something even in that small period of time that he might teach somebody else that they'll benefit from, and that knowledge, because the knowledge is what stays with you, that you continue to benefit. This is a sadaqatun jariyah. Sadaqatun jariyah is what? What?
Ongoing charity.
It's ongoing charity. And from that is ilmun yuntafa'u bi. That he leaves behind knowledge that the people to continue to benefit from. And part of that hadith, those 3 things that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, he didn't mention the salat that he used to do at night. That benefits you. Don't get me wrong, it benefits you. But we're talking about what's going to continue to benefit you after your death. Is that knowledge that you leave behind. So that's more important. The person has, if he doesn't have time, the only time that he has to seek knowledge is at night. And he's got 2 choices, because maybe he's got other responsibilities, and he should seek knowledge. Seek knowledge. That's better than standing up at night in prayer. What's your question? You forgot it, didn't you? Because it wasn't important.
No, it actually was.
One more question. Go ahead. I do that to my kids all the time. Wait. And then they forget what they wanted. Yeah. Even like Dad, can you buy this on Amazon? And then I'll be like, I'll tell him like, wait, remind me tomorrow or something like that. I'll do that with his little brother. The next day I'll go, or like maybe 3 days later, like, what did you want on Amazon? I can't remember, because it wasn't important.
I remember, are you allowed to combine Maghrib and Isha every day?
For what reason?
Being a muqim.
Just to do it?
No.
Combine prayers?
سألني هذا. هو سألني هذا حينما كنت غايب عليه.
Every day though.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, when it's raining or when you're traveling.
There's conditions.
Even when it's raining, you don't combine. Like, if we're in a class in Maghrib and we have the intentions of sitting here until Isha, we don't combine the salah. It's not permissible to combine it because we had the intentions of staying here. The combining the salah is only in difficulty, in times of extreme difficulty. When the people, if they leave, they have to go and they might not be able to make it back to the masjid. For those types of purposes, but nah. We don't combine the salah. The whole time I was in Damascus, never combined. They never combined the salah for rain.
You're gonna be busy throughout the whole day, then could you?
No, if the rain is going to prevent you from getting back to the masjid and doing the salah.
If you're doing it every day, but you're not gonna go back to the mosque.
It's not permissible to pray it without a reason. That's salah's batil, and that person needs to make tawbah.
It could be one drop from the sky. Oh, yalla jammer. I'm being serious.
Last question, make it count.
Striving Slave says, when you say people here don't like teaching the Sunnah, does that mean they don't like Bukhari/Bulugh al-Maram getting taught? Why are they so triggered by Sunnah?
They're so triggered by Sunnah because they established their power through the ignorance of the people. So these people like the people that I can't mention their names because every time we mention their names we get a strike against the channel. But all these like celebrity type imams and all these not just the celebrity imams, but all these like Islamic Center imams, they're ignorant. They're ignorant, akhi. And the thing is the people, once they get knowledge and the people truly understand their religion, what happens to these people?
They hate.
Well, yeah, they're going to become obsolete and they're going to know that they're lying. See, when I was young, we used to go back and we used to go and tell the imam, because we used to sit around and read Bukhari, read Muslim, and then the imam would be like, no, because we had this imam. He's a Pakistani guy he's a Hafiz of the Quran. I mean, he studied in Britain, actually, in the university, and then came to America and he studied comparative religions. So he used to always argue with us. Oh no, you brothers, you don't understand the Arabic language and you don't understand. And then when I go and I study and I come back to the same masjid, now this guy's not there, but another imam just like him's there. Now what was their answer now? When I tell them, okay, now what are you going to say? Now I sat down and I studied the hadith. What are you going to say now? We're going to ban you from the masjid. We're not going to let you teach. That's their solution. That's always their solution because the sunnah is going to expose them. The correct aqidah is going to expose them. The people that imam in Jacksonville, nobody knew what this man was about. Until what? Until we started talking. Until me and Sajid started teaching classes and started doing what we were doing. Next thing you know, he's got to justify why he's telling the people that Allah is everywhere. Why Allah is not over his throne. Now he's got to start explaining things, and they don't like that.
You said throne.
Huh?
You said throne.
I said he's not over his throne.
The word throne.
Don't worry about that. It's arsh.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying what the people understand. I understand. But
You were against it last time.
I'm still against it, but I'm just saying it because that's the way that people translate it. It's one of those things, like I said, if you don't pay attention, you fall into old mistakes. So the thing is that there's exposure for them, and they can't take that. So what do they do? They ban you. They try to lie about you. They try to say, oh, I love this is the favorite go-to thing. He's an extremist because they just feel like, if the person says what he's extreme, khalas. That's it. The people will stop listening to him. But that's the thing. Once the people start to realize what the person's really teaching and they realize the truth, then khalas, it shuts them down. That's why. These people are afraid of the sunnah. They're afraid of the correct understanding of the thing. We're not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of another person coming up more knowledgeable than me. If a person comes here and he's more knowledgeable than me, ahlan wa sahlan. He sits here and I sit on the floor and study from him. That's that. If Fareed were like alive today and he's sitting in this chair, I'll be sitting there right there on the floor with a notebook just like you guys. And no arrogance with this stuff. Because we're all trying to learn our religion and we're trying to practice the religion correctly. But these people, they want the positions of authority. They want to be where the money's at, where the status is at, because otherwise, akhi, they would have nothing. They would be nobodies. Most of these guys, akhi, wallahi, they come from their countries. They would never ever be the imam of the masjid in their countries. The Egyptians over here, if they go back to Egypt, they'll never be the imam of a masjid in Egypt. And the same thing with these Pakistanis here, they will never go back to Pakistan and be an imam of a masjid. They won't have the knowledge and the people will laugh at them. So we don't, this is the thing, they don't want that exposure. And the sunnah and the real students of knowledge, they expose them. So they got to do everything to shut us up. But they can't, because alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the internet. So, wallahi, ala rahma anufikum, wallahi. We're going to continue to talk, inshallah. And y'all can just go like, mutu bi ghaydikum. Wallahi, mutu bi ghaydikum. Wa ila hana subhanaka wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
Sorry.